One morning, you wake up and feel nothing. Not happiness, not sadness, not anxiety. The weight of expectations, the silent pressure of being enough, the fear of judgment, all of it is gone. You walk outside and the world moves around you, but it no longer moves through you. You see people rush past, their faces tight with worry, drowning in invisible burdens. And yet you, untethered, untouched, exist beyond it all. But then a whisper of doubt creeps in. Is this freedom or emptiness? If happiness is found in caring less, why does the idea of detachment feel so unsettling? The idea that caring less leads to happiness feels counterintuitive, even dangerous. From childhood, you've been taught that to live fully, you must care about success, about others' opinions, about fitting into the world's intricate machinery. To be good is to be concerned. To be worthy is to be invested. But what if this is a trap? Nietzsche once wrote, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." Society weaponizes this idea, conditioning you to carry burdens that were never yours. Expectations of perfection, unquestioning obedience to norms, the illusion that your worth depends on how much you sacrifice. You internalize it all until you forget that not all struggles are yours to bear. Carl Jung warned that people spend their lives constructing a persona, a false self shaped by external demands. You wear masks of duty, morality, ambition. You play your role so convincingly that one day you mistake the mask for your true face. And what happens? The more you care, the more fragile you become. Every failure is devastating. Every rejection cuts deep. Every setback feels personal. This is the hidden cost of caring too much. You tether yourself to outcomes you cannot control. You drown in emotions that are not entirely your own. You suffer for illusions. So here's the real question. If caring makes us so vulnerable, why do we insist it's the only path to happiness? And more importantly, what happens when we finally let go? You don't notice it at first. It happens slowly, like a tightening noose you mistake for an embrace. The more you care about approval, about control, about being enough, the heavier life becomes. The world teaches you that caring is strength, but in reality, it is often the very thing that breaks you. Think about it. The person who obsesses over being liked bends until they snap. The one who fears failure hesitates until opportunities vanish. The perfectionist, so consumed by doing things right, drowns in anxiety and never truly lives. When you care too much, every criticism feels like a wound, every rejection like an existential crisis. You become fragile, constantly seeking validation, mistaking external affirmation for self-worth. But the cruelest part? The world does not reward this level of care. It exploits it. The selfless are overworked. The kind are taken for granted. The devoted are strung along with false promises. Meanwhile, those who hold their peace, who remain detached, who refuse to let the world sink its claws into their happiness, move through life with a freedom the overcaring will never know. The Stoics knew this truth centuries ago. Detach from what you cannot control, and you will never be a slave to suffering. The ones who suffer most are not the indifferent, but the ones who grip life too tightly, trying to force meaning where none exists, trying to hold on to things that were never truly theirs. So, the question remains, what if you could let go? What if happiness is not about caring more, but about knowing what is not worth your care at all? Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean, holding a handful of sand. The tighter you grip, the faster it slips through your fingers. This is how most people live, clutching desperately to things they were never meant to control. But what if you simply opened your hand? What if you let the waves take what was never yours to hold? This is the first act of rebellion, letting go. Not with bitterness, not with resentment, but with clarity. You do not need to be understood by everyone. You do not need to win every battle. You do not need to carry burdens that were never meant for you. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And yet, how often do we give this power away? To strangers on the internet, to people who never deserved our loyalty, to fleeting worries about the future. The second act of rebellion is indifference to the meaningless. The most powerful people in history were not those who cared about everything, but those who chose carefully what to care about. They understood that energy spent on petty things is energy lost forever. So, ask yourself, what would happen if you stopped chasing approval? If you let go of control? If you surrendered the illusion that you must always be enough? Would you finally be free? Imagine waking up one morning with nothing to prove, no one to impress, and no invisible weight pressing down on your chest. The noise is gone. The expectations have crumbled. The fears that once dictated your every move have dissolved into nothing. What remains? You. Not the version of you shaped by guilt or obligation. Not the person molded by the expectations of others. Just you, standing in the raw, undeniable truth of your own existence. And in that moment you realize, happiness was never about gaining more. It was about shedding everything unnecessary. The world teaches you to chase approval, wealth, significance. But the happiest people are not the ones who care about everything. They are the ones who care about the right things. They understand that peace is not found in control, but in surrender. So here is the final, most profound realization. The less you care about things beyond your control, the more space you create for the things that truly matter. Let go. Breathe. Walk away from the unnecessary battles. And in the silence that follows, you will hear something you've long forgotten. Your own voice. Now, what will you do with your freedom?